Hi, I'm Ben Phillips. I'm one of the club's media team here at Cambridge United. I've been in the role now for 3 seasons and enjoy it. I work alongside Tom Stewart, who's Head of Communications and Media at the club, Ollie Kane, who does all the filming, and Dave Vant, our new Matchday Live presenter. Here this season, as well as doing photography for the club, I also interview the players as they arrive, chatting to them and getting their thoughts ahead of the game. Growing up as a fan standing here on the terraces, it's now a pleasure to be part of the Cambridge United media team, capturing content for the fans, especially at a time when fans aren't here in the stadium and are sorely missed on a match day. So my favourite shots of capturing Cambridge United, there's been a few. Last season I enjoyed the last minute winner against Colchester when Harvey Nibbs celebrated in front of the Colchester fans. It was great to capture that. Also this season I've enjoyed capturing the match against Newport in the pouring down with rain and the elements. It was tricky as a photographer to photograph in those conditions, but it was also special because we wore our new 50th anniversary shirt. So from standing here on the terraces, growing up as a child, to now being part of the Cambridge United media team, it's been a privilege. Obviously at the moment, fans aren't allowed in grounds and they're sorely missed. Hopefully we'll see them back here on the terraces soon at the Abbey. I'm now going to pass you over to Ollie, who's going to talk about what we do on a match day.
I'm Ollie, I'm the videographer at Cambridge United. I create a lot of the match day content as well as some bits and pieces sort of around the first team when it's not a match day. So I've been involved, this is my 2nd season at the club now. This season's quite different to last season. Last season we was creating a thing called Match in a Minute, which was basically 60-second match day highlights, which sort of involved everything from players arriving, fans in the terraces, and then sort of a highlight of the match itself from a different angle to what Sky would provide to us. This season it's changed with no fans being here, so we're now producing a programme called Matchday Live, which is what the fans would sort of experience online ahead of a match day. So Matchday Live was sort of a project that we came up with during lockdown. We knew fans initially weren't going to be in the ground for probably the first month of the season. That's now been delayed even further with the latest lockdowns. But basically what Matchday Live is in addition to the digital programme which the club now offers, we also offer video content for fans to access for free ahead of a game. So typically we'll be here at the ground about 3 to 4 hours before the game kicks off, and we'll be working with Dave, who will produce sort of a pre-match sort of intro looking at highlights of previous games. He'll sort of, if there's like a focus of the game, like a mental health awareness thing or a commemorative shirt, we'll talk about that and we'll sort of work that into a pre-match show which lasts around 10 minutes. There is obviously a bit of a focus in driving iFollow sales. I mean, iFollow is sort of the only real sort of regular source of income that the club has. So there's a lot of focus on, Dave will mention that you need to get involved and get your iFollow passes basically in the programme. But it's not just the sales pitch in terms of what the club does. It is sort of content that gives the fans that sort of feeling that they are still involved with what the club's doing and they're still involved with the match day in some sense. We then, after the first sort of Matchday Live programme, we'll then have Ben Phillips, who will speak to the players. Ben has a great relationship with a lot of the players. I mean, he's always talking to them on Instagram and stuff. So yeah, he'll know what's going on, who's been on the golf course this week, and he'll have a chat with them and sort of give the fans a bit of a sort of insight into what's going through the players' heads sort of 2 hours before kickoff, which usually they don't tend to get. So yeah, that's what we do. And then just over an hour before kickoff, Dave will then speak with Mark Bonner, who's the manager here, and he'll get his thoughts on the lineup, sort of the opponents and things like that. And yeah, we aim to turn those around sort of within a 15-minute time span of when they're filmed. So with the Matchday Live, the main show, we'll film that. It'll probably take half an hour to film, 15 minutes to edit, and then Tom Stewart, who's the head of communications here, he'll be getting that online within 15 minutes for a sort of deadline that we have, which is 90 minutes before kickoff. Ben will then do the players' bits. That'll probably be a 5-minute turnaround on filming those. So once you've filmed them, 5-minute turnaround on sort of the editing, and then that'll be probably 10 minutes afterwards, that'll be ready to go out. And then Dave will finally speak to Mark Bonner about 40 minutes before the game. We'll turn that around and have it ready to go within 30 to 20 minutes before kickoff starts. And yeah, that's pretty much what we do pre-match.
So my name is David Vant and I'm the presenter for Cambridge United to assist with the Matchday Live. So my role specifically with the football club is to bring the content to life. iFollow nowadays is the main source of income for the club and the stadium, and the majority of my work really is just making people feel like they're at the stadium still, get involved and push anything that the club need me to push. I've now been involved for just over 3 months. This is my first season. So my background specifically within presenting is actually very limited. However,
I have done TV stuff before. I've been a musician the whole of my life. I performed at things like V Festival, Up and Coming Stage, done loads of gigs here and there, which has kind of given me a sense of performing and a bit of camera work as well. But in terms of presenting, it is very limited experience. But you learn as you grow, and being part of such a family club, it's just brilliant learning, absorbing like a sponge, taking each game as it comes and just self-building and just becoming better and better, more confident and more engaged in each game.
It's been a challenge, but the most important thing has been giving sponsors visibility at a time when there's no supporters in the stadium, and one of the ways we've done that is the Matchday live content that yourself and Ben and Dave, Vant and Tom have been working so hard on. Essentially, it's trying to bring a Matchday to the supporters, so those fans who we would love to be in the stadium but can't be, just get a flavour of the Matchday. They get to see behind the scenes, they get to see interviews with the players, the head coach, and of course to integrate the sponsors into that gives the sponsors visibility, and it gives them some value as well at a time when obviously people aren't in the stadium. So it's really, really important that we thought about that during this lockdown period. We sort of devised a plan of how to give value to our supporters and continue to engage with them as well as our sponsors, and I think we've done that really well, and obviously the plaudits for that go to the media team that's been built by Tom with yourself and Ben and Dave fronting things on camera, and it's something that I think will be continued into the future because it's been very popular and the supporters have really loved it. Yeah, definitely. Without sort of putting too much of a commercial slant in it, I think digital inventory is going to be more and more important for sponsors. It's far easier to assess numbers and the number of eyes on content. It's obviously a bit easier to be creative with digital content rather than sort of static advertising and that kind of thing. And I think it is something that probably the lockdown has maybe accelerated that side of things for clubs at our level. But I do think we were early in spotting that, and I think we sort of got things together quite quickly to first of all cope with it, but secondly devise how to provide sponsors and fans with quality content, not just content for the sake of it, but content they can really engage with and was of a high standard. And I think the club have been recognised by other clubs at this division and divisions higher as well for the work that we've done. And as I say, I think it's important that we continue that.